Her Voice in the Stars, a Sapphic sleep story. The observatory sat high on a hill overlooking the sea, where the air smelled faintly of salt and cool stone. The nights stretched long there, filled with quiet hums of machinery and the low whisper of the wind brushing against glass domes. Dr. Celeste Morgan had learned to love that silence. It was the kind that listened back. She adjusted the telescope's alignment and glanced at her watch. Nearly midnight. The stars were sharp tonight, so clear that even the faintest ones trembled like tiny heartbeats. The sound of footsteps startled her. Dr. Morgan. Celeste turned. A young woman stood by the doorway, her voice unsure but soft. The dim red light of the control panel lit her face, wide hazel eyes, a nervous smile. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm Amara Lynn, the new assistant." Celeste blinked, slightly taken aback. "You're early. I wasn't expecting you until next week." "I couldn't wait," she admitted with a shy laugh. "I thought I'd see if the stars looked different up close." Celeste gestured toward the open dome. "They don't," she said softly, "but you do." Amara stepped closer, her eyes drawn to the telescope. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "It's old, but it listens well." Amara tilted her head. "Listens?" Celeste smiled faintly. "That's what I call it when the universe speaks, but you have to be patient enough to hear it." The words lingered between them like faint starlight. Over the next few nights, Amora settled in quickly. She asked questions, not just about data or formulas, but about meaning, about why stars exploded, why they burned, why some stayed unseen for centuries. Celeste had forgotten what it felt like to explain things to someone that wasn't just listening, but wondering. They fell into a rhythm. The quiet turning of the dome, the click of the telescope's gears, the scratch of Celeste's pen across paper, and through it all, Amara's voice. Bright, curious, alive. Sometimes when the data runs finished and the night slowed, they sat on the observatory steps with steaming mugs of tea. "Do you ever get lonely up here?" Amara asked one evening. Celeste looked out at the horizon, where the ocean met the stars. "No," she said. Then, after a long pause, "At least, I didn't used to." Amara smiled, looking down into her cup. "The stars keep you company, huh?" Celeste nodded. "They remind me that everything is connected, even in silence." Amara's voice was gentle when she replied. "Maybe that's why I like them too." Weeks passed. Winter deepened. The observatory became their whole world, a sanctuary of quiet light. Sometimes when Amara laughed, it echoed through the dome like a melody that didn't belong to the machines. And when she stood at the eyepiece, her hair lit faintly by the reflection of stars, Celeste found herself studying her far more closely than any constellation. One evening, a power outage ruled through the coastal grid. The lights flickered and went out, plunging the dome into darkness. Amara gasped softly, her voice unsure. "Did we lose everything?" Celeste shook her head, barely visible in the glow of the emergency lantern. "No," she said. "We gained something." She walked over and opened the dome fully. Above them, the entire sky burned alive, countless stars stretching from horizon to horizon. Amara whispered, "Oh." Her voice trembled, not with fear, but awe. "It's so much brighter than I imagined." Celeste smiled, though her throat felt tight. "You just needed the dark to see it," she said softly. They stood side by side, faces turned upward. The cold bit at their fingers, but neither moved. "You ever name them?" Amara asked. "Sometimes," Celeste said, quietly. "The ones that make me feel less alone." Amara looked at her then. Really looked. "And do you have one tonight?" Celeste hesitated, her breath fogging in the cold air. "Maybe?" Amara's smile was small, but full of warmth. "Then I hope it has my name." The silence that followed wasn't heavy. It shimmered. The air between them felt like the space between stars, infinite, and yet impossibly close. After that night, something changed. It wasn't spoken, but it lingered in every glance, every shared silence. They worked the next few weeks wrapped in a quiet understanding, the kind of connection that doesn't need light to be seen. One evening, Amara found Celeste asleep at her desk. The red data light blinked softly beside her. On the open page of her notebook was a line of handwriting, not numbers this time, but words. "Some stars shine quietly, but they're still the brightest in the sky." Amara smiled and gently closed the notebook. When Celeste stirred, her eyes softened. "You read that?" Amara nodded. "It was beautiful." Celeste looked away, embarrassed. "It wasn't meant to be." "Maybe it was," Amara said quietly. "You just didn't know it yet." That night, clouds rolled in from the sea. The telescope stood still, the stars hidden. Celeste found Amara sitting by the wide glass window, knees drawn up, watching lightning flicker far away over the ocean. She sat beside her without a word. Amara spoke first, her voice barely above a whisper. "Do you ever think maybe the universe puts people together the way it puts stars? Not too close, not too far, but just enough to make light." Celeste smiled softly. "You're starting to sound like a poet again." "Maybe I never stopped." Celeste turned towards her, the dim lightning painting fleeting silver across her face. "You know, I used to think the universe was silent, but lately, I think it has a voice." Amara tilted her head. "And what does it sound like?" Celeste's voice was low, almost trembling. She replied, "You." Neither of them spoke again for a long time. Outside, thunder rolled softly, not fierce, but distant and comforting. Inside, the quiet hum of electricity slowly returned, the lights flickering back on. Amara leaned her head gently against Celeste's shoulder. "I guess we didn't lose everything." Celeste smiled faintly. "No," she whispered. "We found something." Later that night, when Amara went to her room, she found something resting on her desk. Celeste's leather notebook. A single page had been marked with a silver paper clip. Written inside, in the same careful hand, were the words, "Love like the stars doesn't need to be loud to be bright." She smiled, closing the book gently against her chest. Through the window, the stars had reappeared, faint, scattered, and endless. And somewhere on the hill, The observatory lights glowed again, a beacon not of science, but of something far more infinite. You've been listening to Sapphic Sleep Tales. Rest beneath the stars and dream in their light.